I told you this was going to happen. I literally told you. And this might be old news to some of you, but the fact that it's been a few months and people are still arguing about this tells you everything that you need to know. A few months ago, when I did that GDPR video for VATSIM, I said that VATSIM was in danger of alienating people, that we were pushing people away. And now look, you accused me of attacking VATSIM, of trying to create problems where there weren't any. You said that I was being sensationalist and that I was stirring up drama for the clicks. Well, look at this. They're literally changing the minimum age of VATSIM to be 16. And I'm sorry, you might not agree with me and you might completely disregard this video. And that is totally fine. But this has to be one of the dumbest throwaway comments that I've ever seen from them. And that's honestly saying something. We have to start talking about what the higher ups in VATSIM are doing, because they're making decisions that I think will eventually hurt this network. So here's what happened. In the Board of Governors meeting for Q2 2025 under section 4.03, they said VATSIM Board of Directors has directed that the minimum age for VATSIM will be 16. In addition to stronger protections of young people, data analysis shows that nearly 30% of suspensions are attributed to the 13 to 15-year-old age slice, many of which are due to immature actions. But it's the bit that it says here, nearly 30% of suspensions are attributed to the 13 to 15-year-old age slice. 30%. Not because they've tried mentorship programs and failed, not because they've exhausted all other options. They just saw a scary sounding statistic and went, fuck it, let's ban them all. And you have to ask the question too, 30% of what exactly? 30% sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But when it's 30% of 10 suspensions, that's only 3 kids. 30% of 100 people is only 30 people. Then there's the fact that of what percentage of 13 to 15-year-olds are actually getting suspended. Because if there's thousands of teenagers on the network and only a handful of them are causing problems, then you're punishing an entire generation for the actions of what? A dozen trolls? It's purely statistical manipulation. Throw a scary percentage, provide zero context, and hope nobody asks the obvious questions. I'm sorry, but it's just mental when you think about it. Because let's be honest, the majority of issues on the network, no matter which way you look at it, largely boils down to individuals who don't know how to fly their aircraft. People who would spawn into an aircraft during the hype, not knowing anything about it. Of course, you get the odd troll who spawns on the runway or who flies around Gatwick in a helicopter, completely ruining the experience for everyone else. And I get that. But I have seen fully grown adults do this as well. They have done the same thing. And instead of actually addressing why these suspensions might be happening, instead of improving the training or having more supervisors online or creating better systems to help struggling pilots who just want to learn, they've just gone, nah, teenagers are bad, ban them all. It's lazy. It's so unbelievably lazy. I mean, I know a kid who's 14 years old and they fly better than me, and I'm not joking. He knows every system in the 737 or the A320. He knows how to use the FMC better than I do. He flies the proper procedures, the flight plans. He's learned every single thing that you can think of to make him a better pilot. He is the very epitome of what VATSIM say they want in a pilot. And there are kids out there that will be the exact same. But now they're being told they're not welcome because some teenagers and trolls don't know what they're doing. Which brings me to my next point. I don't think that the VATSIM leadership has a clue how to deal with the trolling problem or how to improve pilot quality on the network. They just can't figure it out. So instead of actually trying to solve the fucking issue, they're just closing the door on an entire demographic and then just calling it a day. Again, it's laziness. And the worst part is they've already made it harder to join. They've revamped the entire P0 course, made it comprehensive, and what has happened? The number of people passing dropped from 146 people per day to just 78. They literally cut the number of new pilots in half. And now on top of that, they're adding age restrictions to solve these issues. And I'm sorry, but I am convinced that they're actively trying to kill the network. Because let's be honest with ourselves. If you love aviation, you probably got that when you were young, when you were a kid. Most of us did, right? That's when you have the time, the curiosity, the passion to really dig deep and dive deep into specific things and learn about them, to be this sponge absorbing everything that you can about aviation. So by the time that you're 16, if you haven't already discovered your favorite hobby or you haven't discovered flight simulation, you're probably not as likely to do so in the future. You've already found your interests, your hobbies, other things that you've cared about. VATSIM, by doing this, is essentially telling a 13-year-old who has just discovered flight sim to come back in 3 years. It's just dumb to me, I'm sorry. And meanwhile, platforms like Say Intentions are making huge improvements in the industry. As AI improves, these services are only going to get better. And the best part is, there isn't any of this crap with ID verification or dot walloping because you missed a single ATC call or you went for a piss, or people moaning about you because you have a fucking high voice. Honestly, make it make sense to me because I have struggled so far, and the timing couldn't be worse either. Say what you want about MSFS 24 right now, and to be honest, it isn't brilliant at the moment, but Microsoft and Asobo have developed a simulator that has brought in millions of newcomers. There is genuine interest in aviation again, people who want to learn, to explore, to be a part of this community. But VATSIM is just slamming the door in their faces if they want to be a part of such an amazing network, simply because they can't figure out how to manage some immature teenagers or trolls. Of course, you can make your own determination that I hate VATSIM and that I'm just trying to hurt the very thing that you love, but I'm not. I actually care about VATSIM. I said that in the previous video, and I'll say it again. It is a brilliant thing for the community. I've spent hundreds of hours on this network. I've met some amazing people and I've learned so much about aviation. It's been a huge part of my journey, which is exactly why I'm so frustrated watching them make silly decisions like this. You only have to take a look at the UK division and see that it's got a waiting list of like 950 people for controller training. 950 people. They're making people wait months to learn to control, but they can't figure out a mentorship program or a system for younger members. They can't create a probationary period. They can't have additional requirements for that age group. No. Apparently, that is too complicated. Better to just blanket ban them all. And look at the bigger picture here. The percentage of controllers is down to 7.9%. That's it. Less than 8% of members are controllers, but the average age keeps climbing. And so their solution is to cut off the supply of young, enthusiastic people who want to actually control in the future, to contribute to the community that you're using, who might actually want to learn this stuff properly. It's all completely backwards, if you ask me. And I genuinely believe that in 5 years, we'll be looking back at this decision as a turning point and not in a good way. This could potentially be the moment VATSIM chose gatekeeping over consistent growth, when they chose exclusion over education, in my opinion. And I know before you say it that they are grandfathering this in. So yes, the 14-year-old that I spoke about earlier, he's safe. But what about the next kid like him? What about the kid who's 13 years old, who discovers flight sim, who boots up MSFS and wants to join the amazing community you and I are a part of? Sorry, kid, VATSIM doesn't want you. Come back when you're 16. The fact that this wasn't even properly part of the agenda for the Board of Governors meeting is even more mind-blowing to me. It was just dropped in there like some throwaway comment, and that should tell you everything that you need to know. They're making decisions that will affect hundreds, if not thousands, of new members with barely any thought, no consultation, no trialing, or asking the community even, no asking for feedback. Just boom, oh, we're going to deal with it this way, and that's it. I think VATSIM has completely lost sight of what it's supposed to be about. It was there for education, about sharing a love for aviation, about building a community. How does banning a 13-year-old accomplish that? How does turning away the next generation help us build a sustainable future for the network? It's not a resource problem. It's a we don't actually care enough to try problem. But that is my opinion. You might disagree. You might think that this is the right course of action, but I think it's systematic of a bigger problem with VATSIM. They've become so obsessed with gatekeeping and maintaining the perfect professional environment that they've forgotten the whole point of the network. And when everyone's moved on to whatever AI powered system they prefer, when VATSIM is just a bunch of old guys flying around an empty network, wondering where everyone went, remember this moment. Remember when they decided that properly managing and helping young members was just too much work. What an absolute joke.